Okay, so good morning. So for those of you joining virtually, go ahead and have your bolster set up to sit on, and a block and a strap for each class if you have it. If you don't have it, if you're watching this later after it's recorded, I'll show you some variations. And then it's really easy to order those props from Amazon or any online yoga company. And I think now you can even get them from like Walmart or Dick's or even TJ Maxx, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I do encourage you to get a longer strap, like a 10 to 12 foot strap. And then a bolster, a cushion, but you can also sit up in a chair if when sitting it is challenging to sit upright. And we'll talk about that here in a moment. So we'll get started here. Okay, thanks for joining us. So this is the back care series. So as you guys know, every time I do a series, a little different focus. And back care seems to be really needed. Myself in particular, it is one of the reasons I got into yoga is because I was having chronic back pain. And in fact, today I'm having some pretty intense back pain. I got a booster 2 days ago. And so yesterday I spent all day in bed, on my back is now happy. And then of course I did some moving and things around by myself and whatnot. So I think I kind of tweaked something back there. So what I have found with this somatic series, it's a really gentle way to mobilize the back. And when we're talking about the back, like what do you think of when we talk about the back? What's the back?
Strength.
Strength. Yeah, we want a strong back. What encompasses the back?
Your whole upper body.
Your whole, yeah. So we've got the back of the body, which would be everything I can think about in the back of the body. So that includes all the muscles, all the tendons, your shoulder blades. And we'll talk about that later because we're going to go from the back up. But the spine in particular, if we're talking about the skeletal system, we're talking about the spine and the vertebrae of the spine. Okay? And then the things that connect to the spine, we're going to talk about that as well as musculature, a little bit about that. But really the focus is going to be on the spine. And so we're going to start from the ground up. And so if you just take your hand and you feel for your tailbone. So your tailbone rests in what we call the gluteal fold. It's a nice name for the buttock crack. But the gluteal fold, so if you feel for your tailbone, and you know what? Your tailbone isn't always centered. It can be tipped to one side or the other. But if you feel for your tailbone, that's called your coccyx. And then if you just put your hand, like you're going to cradle your sacrum where your middle finger is kind of touching the top of the tailbone, you're pretty much, that's about the size of the sacrum. And the body's really cool if you've ever done that thing where you put your foot right in the forearm and the size of your foot is the length of your forearm. Well, I have small feet and I have really short arms. There's like a specific geometry code for your body. And in fact, your sacrum tends to be about the size of your palm as well. And the sacrum is really one, it looks like one bone if you were to dissect the body, but it's actually 5 vertebrae fused together. And the sacrum is known as the keystone of the spine. Because if you were to take the sacrum out, everything would collapse. The spine would collapse because the rest of the vertebrae rest on the sacrum, and there would be no connection through your pelvis. So you may have heard of the sacroiliac joints, sacrum, we just talked about, and then the ilia are your hip bones. And if you take your hands to your hips, right, at the hip crest, and where your thumbs are, is about the position deep, very deep. There's a lot of ligamentous tissue and muscle right there, but deep to those 2 thumbs are about the position of your sacroiliac joints. And that's actually my left side where I'm feeling some pain today, somewhere in that area, that sacroiliac connection. So our focus today is going to be to sense how much mobility we have in our sacrum, which is going to directly correlate to how easily our pelvis moves. So if I move my sacrum, if I tuck my tailbone, my pelvis tips back. And if I think about sticking my tail out, that's going to move my back forward. And that's where I feel a little bit of pain today. We're going to explore these movements on the floor. That's what the somatic practice is based on, floor-based movements. And we're going to experiment with the way the sacrum moves. A lot of anterior and posterior tilts, but we're also going to move the hips left and right. And we're also going to experiment with moving the pelvis kind of in a lateral bend as well. So that's going to be our focus today. Whenever we're working on health of the spine and really the whole body, it's important to assess what's going on in the sacrum first. And oftentimes when we're doing body work, we'll look at that first with folks. So if we don't have good mobility in the sacrum, we don't have good strength in the sacrum, stability, it can often lead to other problems throughout the rest of the body, going down or up. So knee issues, foot issues, shoulder issues, pain in the back, etc. So just take a comfortable seat for a moment before we start moving. And as you sit, I want you to drop your awareness down into the sacrum. And simply sense that space that the sacrum takes up in the body. And then move your awareness anterior to the sacrum, so in front of the sacrum. A lot of this practice is awareness of the body. So where's my body in space? It's known as proprioception. But then also what is going on inside of my body, and that's called interoception, internal awareness. With each exhale, I want you to feel a grounding and a heaviness in this area of the body. You might even sense your sit bones rooting down. And then from there, lengthen up through the crown of the head so you get a little taller. Begin to connect with your breath, inhaling through the nose. Let's just do a big exhale through the mouth, sigh. Let's do another one of those, big inhale. And inhale and exhale through the nose. Soft, gentle breath. Come down to lie on our backs. What's the temperature? Do you guys like windows open, windows closed? Stay warm. So go ahead and just move your cushion, whatever you were sitting on, off to the side and out of the way. So you actually have 180 degrees, or sorry, 360 degrees around your body where you're not gonna touch anything. I'll move that chair for you. We'll just fold it up. And so you're going to lay all the way down flat on your back, assuming that position that we call in yoga of Shavasana, the ultimate letting go. And take some time here to just sense what it's like to be on your back today. What's it feel like in your body? When we're dealing with the back care, the goal is to not have any pain in the back. So if lying flat on your back is uncomfortable for you today, you could bend your knees and set your feet flat. And then take your feet a little bit wider apart and let the knees rest together. So there's still a sense of letting go and ease, but support of the floor. And take some deep breaths here. And our focus today is going to be to explore motion in the sacrum. And because of the connection of the sacrum with the ilia, the hips are involved. The hip bones are called the ilia. And bring your awareness back to the sacrum here. That place on the spine, on the low back that's resting on the earth. See if you can allow the sacrum to get a little heavier into the earth. And then also be aware of the space under the low back, so above the sacrum. Is there a lot of space? Is there a little bit of space? We're going to take 5 breaths here. Inhale slowly. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more. Each exhale, feeling the sacrum settling. And also relaxing every part of your body. So no tension. Soften the palms, soften the face. And then from here, we're going to bring the feet in about hip width apart. So you're going to bend your knees, feet are flat. And we're going to start with one of the foundational movements here of the somatic practice, which is going to mobilize the pelvis. So you just take one hand and you feel for that space under your low back. On your inhale, I want you to create more space there. So what's going to happen is your tailbone is going to tip towards the floor. We're going to get more space under the back. And then as you exhale, you're going to press your low back into the floor. So you're going to feel your low back start to push into your hand, just slide your hand out of the way. And you're going to feel your tailbone tuck. And then on the inhale, arch your back. So there's this forward tip of the pelvis. Now we have space under the low back. And as you exhale, flatten your low back, feel your belly engage. Slow breath. Inhale to arch. We do each of these movements usually about 10 times at least. And the first time you do the movement, things might feel a little sticky, a little tense, but hopefully by the end of our experience with the movement, things start to loosen up. Spinal undulation. So we're moving the pelvis and it's going to create this wave-like motion through the body. Inhale to arch the back up off the floor, space under the back. And exhale to flatten the back. Almost like I put a grape under your low back and you're going to squish that grape. We move really slow, gentle, soft breath, gentle, soft movement. Inhaling to arch up off the floor. And exhale to flatten. Inhale to arch. Exhale to flatten. A couple more like this, and notice as you do this movement, what is going on in the head. The sacrum is the base of the spine. Whenever we move one part of the spine, there's going to be a residual effect through the rest of the spine. Notice the tug on the skull. As you exhale and flatten the back, the chin and the head will get tipped up away from the chest. And as you inhale and arch your back, it's going to feel almost like the chin's getting pulled down towards the chest. And we're going to bring that movement in. So as you exhale and flatten your back, tip your chin towards the ceiling. Like you're trying to look at the wall or the floor behind you. And as you inhale and arch your back, take your chin to your chest like you're trying to look at your stomach. Exhale to flatten, tip your chin away from the body. And inhale to arch, take your chin to the chest. Few more. If we are immobile in the sacrum, we will be immobile in the upper back and the neck and the head. So creating mobility and freedom in the sacrum will create mobility and freedom for the rest of the body. Go ahead and pause here and rest. Take the feet about as wide as your yoga mat and let the knees rest together. A few breaths. Notice any shifts that have occurred in your physical body. We're, of course, breathing with the movements. This is called vinyasa movement. So there's the element of breath awareness, pranayama. So we're working with the energy of the body, cleansing the body through the breath. You might feel a shift energetically. From here, we're going to keep our feet wide. We're going to take our knees open. And then keep your left foot and left knee pointing up to the sky. And on the inhale, we're going to drop the right knee internally. The right knee is going to fall in towards the center of your mat. So it's dropping towards the left heel. Yep. Drop it all the way in. You can bring your arms out into a T position or even that cactus position. 90-degree position of the elbow. And then bring the right knee back up towards the ceiling. So we're isolating a bit here of the movement through the hip bone. We're going to drop the left knee in. It's actually called an in flare. And the right foot stays flat. The right knee stays pointed up towards the sky. So we don't want that right knee to move. So turn that right knee all the way towards the sky. And then bring that left knee up. So in this neutral position where we come as we exhale, the feet are flat, the knees are pointing to the sky. And now the left foot stays flat. Don't let the left leg move at all. In fact, be really strong through that left leg. Firm and drop the right knee in towards the left. If you need more space, just widen your feet. And then bring the right knee back up and pause. And then drop the left knee in towards the right heel. Right knee stays pointed to the sky. Right foot completely flat on the floor. And then bring that knee back up. Good. Marty, you can take your feet a little wider apart. There you go. Good. And so we're going to go back and forth, slow with the breath. The inhale explores the range of motion. And aware of where our body is moving in space, it's proprioception, then also noticing what's it feel like inside the body. So you're going to notice perhaps the way things are shifting in the low back and the hips, but then also what it feels like inside in your muscles. One more to each side. Make sure that you're breathing with the movement. So it's an inhale to move. And then exhale. So come back to the center and pause. Next time you come back, bring your feet in, slide your legs out. Lower the arms and rest. Notice how you feel. Slow breath. From here, we're gonna turn the right toes up towards the sky. Flex the right foot, and you're gonna push through the right heel as if you're trying to make the right leg longer than the left. And then relax the right leg completely. And then turn your left toes towards the sky, flex the left foot, and then push through the left heel, make the left leg longer. And then relax. You take your hands and you feel for the front of the pelvis, those two bony points that point up to the sky. Those 2 points are called the anterior superior iliac spine. We call them the hip points, layman's terms. And they're the front part of our hip bones. So if you put your hands on those bones, as you flex the right foot, you turn the right toes towards the sky and you push through the right foot, you're gonna feel how that right hip bone slides down towards the right foot and the left hip bone slides up. And then relax and try that with the left side. Flex the left foot, push through the left heel, opposite will happen. Left hip slides down, right hip slides up. This is called lateral movement, little hip height. And so you're going to explore that back and forth. The inhale, you'll press through one foot as you flex it. The exhale, you'll relax. And then vice versa. Once you get the sense of what's going on in the body, you can release the hands. And explore this movement back and forth. You might notice, as I am today, that one side of your back might feel a little stickier, a little less mobile, might have some pain there. So we're noticing how the action of the legs and what's going on in the legs affects the hips and therefore affects the sacrum. And then after that next movement, pause. A couple of breaths here. And then bend the knees once again. Set the feet flat. So when you were sitting, and I talked about feeling the sit bones root down, the sit bones, if you just take one hand, you kind of feel deep in your buttock. That's the very base of our ilia, okay? And our hamstrings, if you bring your right knee into your chest, hold the right knee with the left hand, and feel for your sit bone with the right hand. Right at the base of your butt, little lower part. Keep going, like when you sit, and then further over to your right. Keep going to your right with your hand. Keep going further, a good 3 inches. Yep. And then right where you sit, yeah, push in there. Push in there. Feel that, ladies? Yep. That's your sit bone. And then from there, move your hand through the back of your thigh to the back of your knee. That's your hamstring. And then from the back of your knee down back to your sit bone. So that's your hamstring. That's where your hamstring runs. If we have tight hamstrings because they attach to the base of the hips, it can drag the tailbone down. You can create too much posterior tilt. So we're going to open up the hamstrings now, which is going to affect the way our sacrum moves. We're going to interlace our fingers behind the back of the thigh. And this is our position where we're relaxed. So hold the back of your hamstring. Inhale. Interlace the hands behind the back of your right leg here. So both hands grab the right hamstring. Yep, interlace the fingers. Good. Exhale, relax your shoulders in your face. And on the inhale, begin to take the right leg straight up towards the sky. And so we're stretching the hamstring. And on the exhale, bend the knee and relax. Good. Relax the foot. Inhale, stretch the right leg straight. Exhale, bend the knee and relax. Good. Inhale to stretch. You could bring in some flexion of the foot, pull the toes towards the face. And then exhale and bend the knee, relax. That's your movement. Continue with the breath. Inhale to stretch. And exhale to release. Go at your own pace. If the hamstrings are fairly flexible, you might find that you can draw your leg into the body. But what I want you to go for here is being able to stretch the leg completely straight. Doesn't matter how far you have the leg into the body. So for some of you, you might even need to release the clasp of the hands a little bit to get the leg straight. And if it's challenging to hold the back of the leg, you could use your yoga strap and sling the back of the leg with the strap and hold the strap. And that might allow you to get the leg straight. And then bend the knee. Okay. A couple more here. We'll bring in some stretching through the hamstring today. We're working all about the base of the spine. And again, the sacrum has connections with the hips, and then the hips are connected to the legs. So we're going to work all those areas of the body. And of course, we're working the back of the body here, the back of the legs. Next time the leg comes up, pause, circle the ankle. Go the other direction. And then big stretch, press through the leg, deep breath in. And as you exhale, bend the knee, set the foot down, and then slide the legs out just for a moment, just to notice what does the right leg feel like compared to the left. And then we'll go to the other side, so bend the knees. Bring the left knee in. Again, you can feel for your left sit bone. And then from your left sit bone, if you trace through the back of your leg to the back of your knee, there's your left hamstring. Sometimes it can feel a little tender in there. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to feel different left to right. And then interlace your fingers behind the left knee and relax the left knee. There's your relaxed position. There's your exhale. And on the inhale, stretch the leg. Ooh, my left hamstring is almost always tighter than my right. And then exhale to bend and release. So we'll explore range of motion through our left leg here. Inhale to stretch. And exhale to bend. Again, working towards being able to straighten the left leg. And that's going to allow us to use our quadriceps. So we're being able to strengthen our quadricep as well as stretch our hamstring. You need to use a strap, sling a strap behind your left leg. Next time that leg is straight, foot towards the sky, flex the foot, push through the heel, and then circle the ankle one direction. Go the other direction. Try to get good movement through the foot, through the ankle. And then press. And bend and relax the legs. Stretch the legs out. Deep breaths. We're going to take our time now to roll to our bellies. So you're going to bend your knees and you're going to scoot to one side of your mat and just roll over if you're just practicing on the floor or on the floor. You're going to come all the way to the belly and stack your palms one on top of the other. Palms facing down, point your toes, and then rest your head on the back of the hands. So now we're in this prone position. Staying here, I'm just going to turn to the side for those of you watching to talk easier. So when you're laying on your side, you may feel those front hip bones pressing into the floor. And maybe you can also sense where the pubic bone is. It forms this sort of triangle at the front of the hips, front of the pelvis. Okay. And our sacrum sits kind of counter to that on the back side of the body. And we're going to explore how the sacrum moves as we come into a gentle back bend. So on the inhale, I want you to tuck your toes under and make your legs strong. So tuck toes under, push through the heels. And now as you inhale, just simply lift your head up. And then exhale and bring the head down and uncurl the toes, rest. On the inhale, tuck the toes under, lift the knees, lift the head. And see if you can just sense what's going on in that low back area, the sacrum. Lift your knees up, make your legs strong, squeeze your thighs. Exhale, bring your head down, relax. Inhale, tuck your toes under, lift your knees up off the floor. Squeeze your legs, squeeze your buttock muscles. Those play a big role in back health, the strength of the glutes, and then exhale and relax. Tuck toes, lift head. Look forward, squeeze the legs, knees lift off the floor. Squeeze your thighs, squeeze your glutes. Exhale. Inhale. Feel the grounding through the front of the pelvis as you lift up. So there's this gentle, in the beginning, a bit of an anterior tilt of the pelvis. As we ground through the hips to lift the chest up. And then exhale. And release. A couple more on your own breath. Remember, the legs are strong here. We're tucking the toes, we're squeezing the thighs. Strength of the back is also reliant on strength of the legs and the buttock muscles, the gluteal muscles. Inhale, last time. Look up, strong legs, strong through the body. Find that strength through the whole back. And exhale all the way down, relax. And then I want you to slide your left knee up towards your left hip. We're going to take this as a relaxing position. Turn your head to the left, take a deep breath. And then slide that leg out. Slide the right leg up. Turn the head to the right. And then slide the right leg out. The last position we did on our back, we started with the knee bent, and then we straightened the leg. We're gonna do similar work here, but our legs are gonna be straight on the exhale. On the inhale, we're gonna bend both our knees. So now our hamstrings are engaging to bring the heels towards the bottom. So bend your knees, yeah. And then relax and straighten the legs. That's it. Bend the knees. Flexing the feet. And then exhale. Notice what happens here. Can you sense how your hips lift up off the floor a little bit as you bend your knees? As the hamstrings engage, it's going to pull on those sit bones, and it's going to pull your pelvis into an anterior tilt. And if those terms don't make sense to you, don't worry about it. It's more about feeling and sensing. For those of you that are teachers or been practicing with me for a while, you want to understand the way the body moves. It can be helpful, but really just sensing. And now you can stay with that, or if you want to, you could also lift the head up. We're strengthening the back here. So as the knees bend, flex the feet. Yep, lift the head, and then exhale and relax. Nice, everyone. Good. Explore that a couple times. We had a nice fall nip in the air this morning. Bringing September in. Last one here. And then exhale. And then slowly press yourself up to your forearms, and we're going to lift our hips up off the floor. Crawl the knees in. We're going to come into child's pose. Now, for some of you, being in that full flexion with the knees doesn't work. And you might find that you want to keep your bottom up in the air and put your forehead on the floor. You can also take a bolster here, Kathy. Take that green bolster and lay on it lengthwise so the bolster is under your torso. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But you're still in child's pose. Yeah, and just put your belly on it. Yeah, just like that. How's that feel? And your head too. Put your head on it. So you might need to move the bolster forward a little bit. There you go. Yeah, great. And I'll set you up here too, Marty. Can you put your hips all the way back towards your heels? Yeah, and your forehead down on the floor. Good. How's that feel? Yeah. So now we're getting a little bit of release. It's a opposite movement of what we just did. And you could just turn your head to the side so you're not. Yeah, how's that feel? Good. You can do the same if you want with the bolster. Cramps in the foot. Hamstring. Yeah, so when our hamstrings are tight, it affects our back. And I have to do this hamstring movements at least weekly, if not more regularly, or it affects me. So if you have a long bolster at home, what I'm just showing with those here in class with me today is to just take the bolster and straddle it between the knees and then lay on it. Okay, and you can even do it with your bottom up in the air. If full flexion of the knees doesn't work. If you can, sit all the way back towards the heels, you bring your forehead to the floor. So we're getting a rounding of the spine here. A couple more breaths. If your head was turned to one side, you could turn it to the other. And then we'll just slowly come up and make our way back to our back. And as you come to your back, reach for your strap and your block. Have them nearby. With this back hair series, we're going to be incorporating some restorative poses into this. And so come all the way to your back. Strap and block those five. Because we'll eventually use those at the end. One more somatic movement. Twisting poses are so beneficial to the spine. They're said to restore the spine and release any tension in the spine. You can imagine, like, if you take a washcloth and you wring out any dirty water. So we're going to have the feet about as wide as our mat. Again, knees are bent. Arms out in a T position. And again, this one is moving the pelvis and therefore moving the sacrum. So we're going to drop both knees to the right. Let your feet roll. Take a breath in here, arms reaching out like a T. And then as you exhale, bring the knees back up to the center and pause. And then drop knees to the left, look towards the right, breath in. And exhale, back to center and pause. And there we are, back and forth, inhaling to move. The knees go to the right, the gaze goes to the left hand. Back to the center. As the knees go to the left, we look towards the right hand. Big breath in. Pause in the center, don't be in a hurry to move. Allow yourself to be comfortable in stillness, in doing nothing. And then when you're ready, move to the other side. Allow these practices to be really soothing and nourishing to your body, but also to your mind. We often are rushing around. Many of us rush around from one thing to another, or sometimes our minds get stuck on one thing, stuck in, something in the past, or stuck on something that we need to do in the future. And the yoga practice is all about staying in the present moment. Like, what's going on right now? Allow your breath and whatever movement you're in. It helps us to allow ourselves to find contentment with what is going on right now. Next time you come back, bring your knees into the chest. Just give yourself a little hug here. Rock your knees left to right. And then as you set your feet down, you're going to take a yoga block if you have them. If you don't have a yoga block, that's okay. You can just kind of just movement for now. But your feet are going to come down and you're going to put the yoga block right between your knees. And it'll be just a narrow width of the block right between your knees. Yep. And we're going to create some stability and strength within our inner thighs. So if you feel your inner legs and you trace them all the way up, they're going to attach to your pubic bone. You might even feel those tendons there. really strong, right? And we're gonna give that block a squeeze and then relax, and that's it. 10 times, squeeze and release. As you squeeze that block, you might also feel how your deep belly engages and your pelvic bone kind of tucks under, your tailbone tucks under, and then relax and squeeze and release. 6 more times. If I feel any pain in my SI joints, low back, this one tends to feel really soothing as it's helping to create that stability which our low back should have. That keystone of the spine, the sacrum, it's really strong. The vertebrae are fused together. It's this triangular shape. A triangle has that stability and that strength. We see it in nature all the time. Think of the pyramids, really strong at the base. Go ahead and relax here. And we're going to take that block out. And we're going to lift our hips up, and right where your sacrum is, I want you to put the block. So it's just right above your tailbone. And then you're going to take your strap. Now, if you're in my studio, you're practicing with me today, your strap's in a loop already. And just grab the tab of the buckle. There's that half loop shape on the buckle. And pull on the side that's running up through the buckle to make your loop a little bit bigger. So that as you bring your knees into your chest, you can put one foot through the strap and then put the other foot through the strap and hold the loop so that your feet are up in the air. And I'm going to come out of it and just help the folks in my studio. And those of you at home, just get yourself situated so that your loop is fairly big. Or if your strap isn't in a loop, that's okay. You can just sling your strap around the feet. So your feet are up in the air. So if you hold this side up, this side's gonna pull. See how I'm just kind of holding the buckle? It is, you gotta release it. If you hold it like this, it won't go. And if you tilt it up, it'll open. I know. And they're sticky straps. It's literally the hardest part of class. And then bring your feet, let your feet rest on me. And then now we're going to tighten your strap just so that your arms are straight. And then we're just going to pull the other way. Hook your fingers in. Does that feel balanced? Figure like the block is even. Fingers and feet together. Yeah, good. So let's take your feet out for a second. Put your feet on the floor one at a time. And then we're going to put this, come down. Yeah. So here's your tailbone.
Okay.
Here's your sacrum. Yeah. And then bring your knees in again. Yeah. Good. And then how we do this is if you just hook your fingers in the strap like this with 2 hands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then we're going to just tighten this up just a little bit. And now the feet rest into the strap and the arms can go straight. How does that feel? I'm going to tighten up a little bit more. Yeah. Good. So what we want to feel is that where the strap is running over the heels, okay, and your arms are pulling in that strap, it's almost like you're pulling that weight of your legs down into your sacrum. So we really want to feel that stability in our sacrum. And then we're getting a nice residual effect of a really gentle release through the hamstrings. You're not going to feel a deep stretch, most likely through your hamstrings. Now, if you don't have a strap and a block and you're at home, just go over to the wall and scoot your bottom up against the wall and put your legs up the wall, and that'll be great for today. So our legs are up in the air. And we want to feel that grounding and stability of our legs driving down into our seat. Breathing here. Okay. So you can see that my block is right under my sacrum. It's not under the low back. There's space under the low back. And my legs aren't exactly 90 degrees. They're slightly off 90 degrees. And the arms are straight, so I don't have to do any work. I don't have to pull with my arms. It might just take a while to get that strap into the position that it feels comfortable. We're going to stay here for a little bit longer. Slow, deep breath. You can let your eyes close. Let your breath become slower, softer, more easeful. Whew, I can tell you what, my back feels 100% better after doing all those movements. So those in my class are here. I'll just show you for those at home, if you did not have that block strap combo and you wanted to get into this restorative pose, I would just come over to the wall and just scoot so my bottom's up into the wall, and then roll over onto my back and put my legs up the wall. Now from here, if you're up against the wall, just stay right there. If you have that block strap combo, take your right foot out of the strap and put the right foot flat on the floor, knee bent. And then just pull on that strap a little bit. Take the right leg into the body a little bit more. Try to stretch the right leg straight. Sorry, excuse me, left leg straight. Yep, left leg straight. The leg that's up in the strap. Try to stretch that leg straight. Yeah, there you go. Squeeze the knee, flex the foot. So can you stretch this leg really straight? Really push, squeeze that thigh. Work that thigh muscle. Good. Good. Work that thigh muscle, flex the foot. And which foot do you have the foot drop? Right or left? This one. So what you could do is help the foot by doing this. Good. Then relax the pressure on that strap a little bit. Bring your right knee in, put your right foot back up in the loop. And then switch sides, put your left foot down on the floor. Now your right leg is straight. Try to get that right leg straight, flex the foot. So like your hamstrings feel tight, but like you're actually quite flexible.
Yeah, this yeah, the hamstrings seem to work pretty well.
Yeah. So just try to make sure you're working that quadricep. Yeah, so squeeze that quadricep. Yeah, great. Squeeze that right quadricep to push the right leg straight. Flex the foot, toes back towards the nose. I'll come back into it to show you guys at home. This is looking like. So we're just doing one leg at a time, just like that. And now we're pulling the leg in. And then you would switch. And then after that side, bring the foot that's on the floor back up into the strap. Take a couple breaths here. If you want to pull the legs in a little bit more, you can. And then release, bend the knees. Take the strap off one foot at a time to the floor. And then push into the feet to slide the block out and come down. And once again, hug the knees in, just do a little bit of a rock on the back. And then we're gonna come to rest, stretch the legs out, assuming the same position we started in. If your back is really tight, you could put a bolster under your thighs and rest like that if you have a bolster. Arms out to the sides. Close your eyes. Arms a little lower than the heart. The palms up to the sky. Just take the arms about 45 degrees away from the body. And tuck the chin slightly to the chest. Let your eyes close, or you can keep them open if that feels more soothing to you, if it feels most comfortable. Let the breath become like a soft whisper. Deep breath. On the knees. Set the feet flat. And then roll on over to your right side while in fetal position. And then slowly press yourself up to sit. And you can take that bolster, whatever you were sitting on in the beginning of class. It might be a folded up blanket, it might be a chair, and come to sit back. And sit cross-legged, sit in a similar position you started in. And then once again, just notice sit bones. Notice the sacrum. Feel the length of your spine. Perhaps you feel more space through the spine. Bring the hands together to the heart. You honor the practice. You honor the space that we practice in. You honor the space within. Thank you so much. It's lovely to be back practicing together. Thank you, those at home. And we will see you next week as we continue our exploration of the spine.